Hello everyone, and welcome to Angel Meadows Radio. I am Mama D, your host. My show is called A Conversation with Friends because I believe everyone is a friend we have yet to meet. This show is where you get to know new friends or get reacquainted with old friends. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Hello.
Hi.
Hey everybody. Welcome to another Sunday with A Conversation with Friends. My friend today is Debbie A. Anderson. Some of you may know her, but those of you who don't, we're going to let you get to know her a little bit. So, hey Debbie, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure. It really is. And I don't know where you are, but we had sort of sprinkles of snow, but thankfully it's not sticking.
Yeah, no, I'm up in Quebec, and they said in my area, they said a snow warning with a little red dot everywhere. It says 20 to 30 centimeters. So for my American friends, we got a lot of people in the chat.
How many inches?
For my American friends, that is max 12 inches, 11, 12 inches.
Oh, well, I kept on saying, we've got to have a little sprinkle of snow so that the kids think that they're going to get a snow day, but it's not sticking here, thankfully.
No. So where exactly are you in Leamington?
I'm in Leamington, Ontario, so southern Ontario, the most southerly point of Canada.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And we've had beautiful weather up till now.
Yeah.
And I'm shifting it. I love weather shifting. And I
was hoping it would be a nice brown Christmas. Such a Scrooge.
Well, somebody said to me, I find it comical when people say they want a white Christmas. Well, to me, a white Christmas is a white beach.
Yeah, I could go for that. Yep. Oh gosh, there's a lady in the chat room who says, "I think I know her."
Oh, thank you.
Hey. That's our
Gina. Yes, I've just saw mine coming up now, and there's Gina. Yes, we had fun on Monday. She came and had a conversation with me, so it's really lovely. I love it.
It is. It's fun to get together with friends, even if you just know them for like we know each other just on Facebook. It's like I know Gina just on Facebook, and it's like just to have a conversation. And some people are like, "Well, how do you get up?" I ask.
Exactly.
Plus, I had your husband on a while back.
Yeah, Chris.
And then he was like, "Yes, I said, yes, I want her on."
Well, what I love about this is, we were just having this little conversation beforehand about when we get the opportunity to communicate with other like-minded souls. For me, it raises my vibration and it makes me sort of feel very connected. And I think at the moment, this is so much about sharing. And of course, for all our US friends that are connected with us, this week is their Thanksgiving. We're in Canada, we're a little wise. We like to stretch our turkey out a little bit. So we have the turkey, and then we can get ready for it again for Christmas. With the US, they keep their turkey very close together. Yes, Tracy, Leamington used to be the tomato capital. At the moment, we're probably known for being the marijuana capital of Canada, because we have lots of greenhouses. So if you want to come down here, just go along where all the greenhouses are and you can just absorb the marijuana. I'm serious. That's why we're so happy.
That's why. Now, okay, I have another friend who lives in Leamington. I'm going to tease her about that because she doesn't. She's no. I was like, now I know.
Well, I don't actually. It's funny because when I first came to Canada from the UK, I went to some friends back in British Columbia. That's where I was living then, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to, smoke some weed?" I'm like, "Weed?" I lived in a cave, I think. And of course, for me, it's the smell. I can't do the smell. It makes me feel very nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be around it. I don't mind anybody smoking it, but just give me time to get way out of the way. And then I'm fine. And of course, here, because the greenhouses are obviously the aroma or whatever you like to call it emitting. It just smells awful. It smells like skunk, and somebody said, well, that's why they call it skunk as well. So anyway,
well, there are so many different
brands, but I just don't like it myself because I don't like the smell.
I used to have a girl that I worked with. She was allergic to the smell so much that she would break out.
Oh, really? Oh, so for me, it's just like all very sort of.
She would actually have hives,
Oh.
and she'd have to take medication. And I don't know how they figured it out, but I was like, I wasn't sure it was for real. And then one day there was a customer who came into work, and you could smell it on him. As like, just
yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, she goes, look, and she was breaking out.
Gosh. Yeah. But of course, Tracy's just said, yeah, we do have lots and lots of fresh vegetables here. Like, come harvest time, we go and watch them harvesting the onions off of the fields, or the, the cabbages, the melons, and all the apples and the tomatoes, of course, yes, because we did have Heinz. There is still a tomato making factory here, but we're just so lovely. I love having, I can go along to one of these fruit and veggie stands and pick up all my peaches, my apples, and it's fresh. It's just literally either come out of the greenhouse or out of the ground kind of thing, and you can smell the difference. So we're very blessed in the stores because they have a lot of local.
We have a few vegetable stands around here. We've got a few farms. Most of our farms, though, where I am, are corn on the cob and strawberries.
God, yeah. Don't even get me started.
Corn on the cob and strawberries. My husband can have the corn on the cob. I will take the strawberries. Take shit.
Yeah, I love fresh fruit and vegetables, and we're very blessed where we are to have access to them. So all the way through the year. So.
Exactly. And every time I always say that no matter what show I do, the conversation always comes around to food. So this time we start with the food.
Well, I'm Taurian, so of course that is my topic.
Yeah, okay.
Talk food with me, and I'll be there for an hour. So.
Okay, so one day we're going to have a food show with Debbie.
Absolutely. I'm not a fancy cook, as my grandma would say. It was a meat and two veg kind of cook, but I do like experimenting and finding new ways to create, because for me, I love cooking, but it's got to be something that inspires me. So that's sort of, I've got to think what to do for supper tonight.
Actually, my daughter brought up supper, so I'm good. That was my post-birthday gift dinner, because she couldn't be up here, so she's like, "Mom, I'm bringing it up." I was like, "Okay, fine."
I love it.
Yes, so I'm being spoiled today. She's up doing her thing and bugging her father, and then, which is really always fun for me to watch them go at it. And then I get to have my show with you, and then supper will be ready.
I love it.
I'm not holding my breath.
I'm starting to feel like royalty here, because in the UK, the Queen has her official birthday, and then she has her actual birthday. And I always jokingly say, when my birthday gets extended because I'll go out, for supper with a friend here, or I'll do something there, I said I always feel like royalty, because it's like my birthday goes on for about a week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like postings on Facebook. A lot of my friends in Australia started posting on Thursday the happy birthday, and I'm still getting some to today, and I do my very darndest to go and at least put a little, because I like the hearts. I want to shoot the thumb, the little thumbs up, dude. I don't like that. It just irritates me for some reason. That and the wave, when people wave to you on Messenger.
Oh, right.
It irritates me. I don't know why. I
feel that Facebook should extend some of their little things there, because the care one, I'm like, especially when somebody has a family member or a friend that's passed into spirit,
mm-hmm.
You don't want to put the little sad thing, because, I think, who is it? Somebody famous, the Bond guy.
Sean Connery.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of people were putting sad, but the one thing that I thought was absolutely beautiful was do a celebration.
Exactly.
I think he was 80 or 90 or something like that. Oh my gosh, how many, that sexy voice, that Edinburgh, kind of voice.
Yeah.
I'm strong,
Trust
calm.
me, I know.
So, so when it comes to a passing of somebody, I always think that it would be nice to have sort of like a, not a congratulations, but something is like a celebration.
Celebrate their life. Yeah.
To celebrate their life, and especially at the moment with the COVID and stuff going on, that it's like, come on, let's have a celebration of life kind of little icon or something like that, so we can put that, and it doesn't feel like we're either putting a thumbs up or tears or love or that kind of thing. So
well, the care one I send, because to me that's sending hugs. I care about everybody, but I'm just be like hug people, but more often than not it's like the little heart, because I think it's so like heart. If they had a butterfly there, I'd be posting that little sucker all the time.
Yeah, it would be nice if we could introduce more that we could add to it. I know that you can sort of look for little giffies and things like that, but
but they're never little, they're always huge.
You take up a lot of space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, we got off track.
Always do.
It's this conversation. It's beautiful.
Exactly. Like people will when I'm talking to people about coming on, they say, what is your show about? I said, well, it's about you and whatever the heck we talk about. I always say it's like us sitting down at a cafe having coffee or wine. There you go. And we're having a conversation, but there's people around us that are eavesdropping. That's what this is. This is our eavesdropping room.
That was one of the things that we used to have fun with. You would go in, and a girlfriend of mine, when we were in the UK, we'd sometimes go in to have a cup of tea or something like that and sit down, or we would say a bun and a cuppa, and we would sit there, and first of all we would look over and sort of imagine their life, what was going on and things like that, and then we'd sort of have that conversation as if they were having a conversation, and it's quite fun to do that, of course.
Oh yeah, sure.
Those are the crazy things you do when you're younger.
Okay, Gina just said, my dad had his teeth fixed. Right after that, he sounded like Sean Connery.
Oh,
not so good when it comes from your dad, but I love the voice.
Yeah, so do I.
I have a friend, Scott. He's Scottish. Scott.
Oh, Scottish.
Exactly, and he lives in the UK somewhere, England, and his picture is him in a kilt, and I always tease him incessantly. And then when he misbehaves and picks on me, I'll message his wife, go, could you get the fly swatter out and smack him? First time I did that, he didn't know what the heck was going on, and his wife just smacked him, and she goes, ask Darlene.
I love it. Yeah, I love because the name Anderson, we have our tartan, which is like blues and greens and so forth, and so I had this lovely crocheted blanket that a friend of my dad's had crocheted for him, and it was the Anderson tartan colors, and of course he had that with him when he was very sick, and then when he passed into spirit, my brother said, well, we were thinking maybe we should burn it. I said, no, please wash it, because I want it to take. Yeah. And so I now have it on the back of one of my chairs that sits in the bay window. And I always call it Dad's chair.
Yep.
Because although he never came to this part of Canada, he did where we had lived many years ago. And so I sit there and I sometimes have my morning coffee, and I can feel the blanket behind me, and I'll start having this chat with Dad about, my day, what's going on, or look at the weather, or look at the sunrise, or something like that. So it's my connection with my dad. So I love it.
Oh, makes sense. It makes sense. I have a chair of my mom's. Actually, when my mother was first married, they had got as a gift 2 matching chairs. And when my mom passed on, actually probably when she moved from Montreal to London, Ontario, she gave one to me and one to my sister, and that's been, my mom's chair.
Oh, that's lovely.
Had to be recovered because as kids we put our feet up on the thing, so that gets kind of wear and tear. And it was in the basement because there's no place for it up here, except what I did realize was my cat was using it as a clawing post. So
oh my gosh, yes,
the cat is still alive. I eventually will have
only just.
Yeah, I will eventually have to, maybe when I hit the lottery, have both the chairs recovered, because my sister, who luckily lives next door, I will, steal hers and get them both recovered, because I know my mom had it recovered.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Because they're a match set, they need to look the same. So
of course, yeah.
Just take it out of the cat's hide.
I love the, it's. I think when people are sort of thinking about those that are passed into spirit, that they can't make this connection with them. And I'm going, but hold a photograph of that particular person and just talk to them as if they're here, you know, and have a conversation, because I love it, you know. And sometimes I'll hear Dad making some comment. I use the word comment when I'm bringing up something, or he'll tell me, you know, get off your butt and get on and do something. I'm like, so I know I wouldn't tell myself that. Yeah. You know, we're only going to tell ourselves nice things. So I always know when he's around, that kind of thing. So I love it because, you know, and of course, with Chris and I, you know, because he'll sort of say, has your dad been around lately? And I'll go, yeah, well, he has. And he said, like, so what's he up to? We'll have that kind of a conversation with two. Some people might think it's a bit strange, but my dad has this way of playing with our, we've got a little mini wine cooler thing that sits on top of a counter top. And every so often he'll play with the temperature on it, and it'll start blinking and doing the sort of the bitty, 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 bitty kind of thing. And Chris and I will look at each other and I'll say, Dad, stop playing with the wine cooler. So we take that time to acknowledge him. And it's sort of, I think it comes down to when Dad lived for many years in Australia. So we got to visit him there, and he had, you know, we arrived and, you know, he had like this balcony. So he lived in Queensland. So the temperature there, the average temperature is like 29 degrees Celsius.
Right.
And he said to Chris and I, he says, I've got a bottle of wine on the, you know, like in the sunroom there. And Chris looked at me and I looked at him, and we sort of said, how long has it been sitting there? And we're like, well, it's been there for a couple of years now. And Chris said, it'll be like vinegar. It's been cooking.
There you go.
No, it won't be. And of course, take the first mouthful, it's like putting it back in there. So I think it's his sort of sarcastic way of always playing with the wine cooler to make it warmer or something. So
exactly. He's going to make more vinegar. There you go. Oh, well, we've got a couple of more people in here. We have, hi, Lisa Pritchard and Leanne, who's on break right now.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's get sort of down to, you know, we have our to chat. But now, first off, what I didn't realize, okay, I knew you were from the UK. I heard the lovely accent, and I was like, okay. Did it for the first time that I knew you. I didn't realize you were living in Ontario. I knew you, mostly got to know you more when you were on vacation before the COVID started, and you were stuck there. And it's like, oh. And then she said, I want to get back to Canada. I was, wait a minute, I got to learn more about this woman, Canada here. But you went to the Arthur Findley College.
That's correct. I was very blessed. And of course, I went there on the days before there was automatum and internet and stuff like that. Yeah. So sort of backing right the way up, when I started playing with cards, tarot cards, we're going back to the eons of time. And I went to this class to learn how to read the tarot properly. I knew how to read them. Yeah. But I could earn a certificate. And in those days, a certificate was a very valid thing to have. So I went along and did this course over a period of time. But what I was finding was I was doing these readings, and then I was told, no, I don't know how you can get that. But the person that I was doing the reading for, etc., said, hey, you're spot on. So when I was there, I met a couple of people, and we decided, because we were obviously different to the average, that we would start a little group, psychic development group. We did meditation and stuff like that. And again, no internet, so we couldn't find anything. And if there was a library that had anything, the chances are they had Bibles and things like that in there. There was nothing spiritual in the vein of what we were in. And then one of the people in that group, excuse me, said, there's this amazing college in Essex, in Stansted in Essex, which I was in southern England living at that time. So that was about 2 to 3 hours away. And they do mediumship and they do healing and all this kind of thing. I'm like, they do? Yeah. So we found out that there was this course going on. And of course, we're all saving up our pennies. And I got to go there. And of course, I always akin it to like Hogwarts.
Yes.
Because in those days, they had long bench tables, a bit like in the Harry Potter. And we
Okay.
would sit down, and of course, you had all your meals there because you literally were there
Yeah.
24/7. You were on campus, if you like.
Right.
And I can remember we would always have I think it was 6 a.m. meditation. There's a beautiful, and I'm assuming it's still there, this beautiful area for having meditations.
Right.
The trouble was we would sit up till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning walking, because when you're immersed in with other people, you've got so many questions, you're wanting to hear all their stuff and all that kind of thing. So I'm sure there were many days where I just slept through meditation.
Yeah, because you just said get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for meditation. In my head, I'm going, well, I kind of am sort of meditating, so just wake me up when it's breakfast time.
Yeah. And of course, in those days, it was like an old stately home. I don't know how many renovations and things they've done. So we actually were sleeping in bedrooms with 4 poster beds or, single beds and things like that. Some of the parts were myself and 3, there were 2 other ladies that actually shared a bedroom together. And it was so much fun. And at that time, I got to experience Gordon Higginson. And he was the man kind of thing of mediumship in those days. And I can remember this one time because, my friends and I, we were standing at the podium, like pretending that we were doing mediumship kind of thing, so we could pose for the photograph. Of course you have to, even in those days. And of course it was a little click camera that we had. So we were posing photographs, and we did mediumship classes, and then he would do like an evening of clairvoyance or that kind of thing. And there was something he had said in one of those, and I can't remember if it was in class or in a mediumship, but he had said, you would do platform work, but not until you're in your 50s. Well, of course, I'm a young woman at that point. And the first thing I'm doing, I've got to wait till I'm freaking old and grey and my God, what the heck,
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is what I always say to people. It wasn't a case of that. So when you step back and look at it, I thought it was at that point some form of punishment that it would take me that many years to learn.
It's like that's an eternity. How the heck am I going to wait that long? Yeah,
I'm in my 20s, so it's like, come on. But here's the thing: what happens is life gets in the way.
It does it. Then
I had a son that I was bringing up. I was trying to keep down, hold down a job and things like that. Then, going through breakups and all of those kind of things that go on, like day-to-day stuff. Yeah, there was no way I could have done that kind of thing. And there was the other thing as well. I truly enjoyed doing one-on-one readings with people. Right, that was my comfort zone. I just loved it. Just one-on-one and do a reading, or be at a show or go to a store or whatever, and I could fit it in to my schedule. Yeah. But of course, then what happened as time went on, I got the opportunity to do platform work, and I did it a little bit kicking and screaming. It wasn't something that I openly wanted to do. I like things the way they are. I
can understand that. Trust me.
Yeah. So going back to talking about Arthur Findley College, in the day that I was doing my mediumship and learning, if you like, or the beginning of the learning, because it goes on after that and with different mediums and so forth, they only did mediumship and healing. Okay. That's all they offered. And of course, now they offer a plethora of all these amazing different metaphysical things there. And of course, a friend of mine who actually taught out of there, she taught astrology, she said, when I hear you talking about this to people, that vision, that memory, she said, but things have so changed. Yep. She said you would find it difficult to recognize it. So I said, so I'm going to keep my little bubble of dream.
Exactly. I'm not going back to it. I'm going to keep it the way I remember.
Yeah, exactly, because, you know, it was sometimes, you know, the immersion of being able to connect with other people like ourselves just on this route, people that were on that journey already, plus to, you know, to learn from, you know, somebody like Gordon Higginson. And and, you know, somebody said to me, can you remember some of the other mediums that were there? And I said, oh my gosh, no, I can't. His is one that stuck in my mind because I really love the way he delivered. And we had talks on what he called physical mediumship, which is not done so much today.
No.
And even
it's
in the day when,
like almost extinct.
Yeah, but he was explaining even in those days that physical mediumship was not like a dog and pony show that would be out for everybody, because he explained that, you know, if you go back to Victorian times where they would do physical mediumship, they would have these stage shows, if you like. And sometimes there would be ethereal smoke that would come up, literally coming from the medium's body, and it had caused the death of a couple of mediums. Because you can imagine, like, going back to Victorian times, you've got somebody that's paid, I don't know, 1 and 6 to go and see this medium on stage, and all of a sudden an apparition of their dead child appears in front there. You know, people are going to go through those emotions, and
exactly
that people rushed forward or things like that. So he was explaining that when he would work with it, it was in almost like a secret society, but more so because they would have mediums there that would be like gatekeepers around the person that was doing it to protect them and things like that. And of course, you know, he talked about having apports, which is making something appear from one place to another. You know, it was so lovely to have those insights into what I call areas that I possibly won't experience or will happen, but we've all had it. The penny that appears or the feather that appears there, it's come from somewhere and it's landed on our doorstep, or it's landed right in front of us. So, you know, these are still happening where something gets moved from one place to another. So I love it. And yes, if I get the opportunity to go back, would I go there and have my dreams and visions of time broken? I don't know. So at the moment, the spirit hasn't given me that opportunity, so I'm concluding that there's no reason for
it's like not for right now, but
yeah, you know, exactly.
Now, so me knowing you is because, first off, I'm gonna put the picture up, but for everybody who doesn't know, okay, she's got decks, and you know me and my decks, right? Like I've got 35 decks, and I still want more. I'm addicted to them. This and chocolate. So you have 4 decks. I have always wanted to create a deck. What made you? Where did you start? Where did the idea come from for the decks?
Well, the first deck, which is the Vibrational Energy Oracle deck, that was, I thought I was just going to be a one-hit wonder, or one deck, and that was it. And I have to say that when the opportunity came to create it, I was a bit kicking and screaming in the back room kind of thing, because so just stepping back from that, I had gone through this transition. I had been working in corporate world. I love it. I love his little expression. I was working in corporate world. I'd had an accident at work, and sort of quickly running along from that, what the outcome was that I ended up losing my job. And Chris had said to me, come with me on tour and, you know, do some work and that kind of stuff. I'm like, sure, okay. You know, I'd gone through recovery mode, and, you know, it's like a loose end kind of thing. So I took my tarot deck with me. And when I started on this journey, I did a couple of what I call exchange of energies, where one person would do a reading for. I love those.
Yeah.
And the person that was doing the reading for me said, Spirit are really sort of like, why are you not getting on and doing what they want you to do? And I'm like, okay, well, I've lost my job, so now I've got to create an income fully. You know, I've been doing my readings and stuff before. And so it was that night when I it was over a couple of days that I was starting to get this, you're going to create an oracle deck. So this is going back to 2000, I think it was 2011, 2012. Yeah. And at that time, I'm like, well, Doreen Virtue's the person that is the queen of oracle decks. Go speak to her. I haven't a clue about creating an oracle deck. So anyway, I sort of fought them for a little while, as I usually do. I never usually do things with ease and grace with spirit, but I'm surprised they didn't put up with me. But anyway, kicking and screaming, it seems to be my my route that I go. So I thought, okay, you're not going away.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll sit. And so at that time, I would go off into a park or into a sort of a garden area or something like that and just sit, and I'd have a pad with me, meditate, and then see what I got. And it started off, excuse me, with getting the titles of the cards.
Okay.
And of course, from then the words came. And of course, getting near the end is right. I'm looking for the ones that came near the end, because it was quite funny, because for anybody that knows oracle decks, they know that usually an oracle deck is between 40, 46 cards kind of thing. But mine was 52. 52 cards. I'm like, holy Hannah, that's like War and Peace. Well, it is. It's like a honking great big deck. So at that point, I'm going, it was getting near the end. So this was my second to last card. Life is a beach.
Okay.
That's card 51 in the cycle of downloads, if you like. And like, okay, this is a cosmic joke. Life is a beach. We know the other one, don't we? Life is a...
Yeah.
And the very last card...
That word is an amazing word. Oh, Lord, no.
And the last card was the F word.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you imagine? You get these as your last two cards, and I'm going, this is a cosmic joke.
Yeah.
Truly. Exactly. It's a cosmic joke. But it didn't turn out that way. And of course, there was that, okay, now I got the words. I got the titles, now I've got the words. And of course, this was over a period of time. Right. And of course, it was exciting because, I told a couple of people, it looks like I'm creating an oracle deck. That was what I actually said, because in my heart, it was like, just do this because maybe there's another reason. Like sometimes we get a task and it's like, maybe this is not the outcome, but maybe this is the road that's going to take me there, kind of thing. So I allowed it to sort of transpire. And then I thought, well, this is all very well, but now I've got to find an artist. There's another component to this, because I can't draw a straight line. So, for me, it's
join the club.
I can write, but yeah. So anyway, so then, people sort of sending me this direction and that direction to see if I could, find a connection. And then somebody, because we had toured across, because at that time we were living in BC, so we had toured across Canada to a certain point, and then we're turning around and then retracing our steps and going back to some of the places a second time. And one of the people that, I had spoken to, because she said, how's it all going? I said, well, it looks like the deck is now completed, but I need an artist. And she sat down and she said, well, there's this really great person. She lives in Calgary, Alberta. I said, so she's Canadian. That's a good, here's some of her artwork. So I said, well, this is an absolute pain in the butt. Why couldn't I have known this earlier? We would have had plenty of time, but everything was scheduled. So I had communications with her via email. And she's like, I'm really interested. I've always wanted to do something like this. I'm like, okay. So, and then we sort of went back and forth, and she was like, well, how do I know what you want? And, it was a bit like Field of Dreams. Spirit basically said, create it, build it, and it will come, kind of thing. Once I find the right artist, they'll know exactly what to do. So she's like, aren't you going to give me some guidelines? I said, that's what they told me. I said, so I have to believe when I find that person.
Right.
And of course, from an artist's point of view, I didn't want her spending hours and hours and hours, and then me go, no, it's not going to fit. So I said to her, look, I'm going to send you sort of a list of the titles and the definitions, and let me know, just create one. Pick one that you, sorry, I'm just trying to find the one that, because she ended up doing 3, but I'm going to just pull up 2. So the very first card she created was abundant blessings.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, you are it. This, and her name's Heather Brewster. And the second one she created was mythical changeling.
Oh, you've got me there. Butterflies. Yeah.
It's and of course, at that point, because she said, well, I like, we're good. Let's just roll with this kind of thing. Yeah. So we did, and because she's a graphic artist, and her name is Heather Brewster. I want to give her a Heather Brewster. Her name is on the bottom of my deck here. Heather Brewster. She's an amazing lady. She is in Calgary. She still is in Calgary, and this great friendship. I love the way the divineness of when spirit connect me to that right person, because she's done some amazing work for me since the deck. So then the deck is created, and now I'm going, okay, now what?
Now what?
Exactly, because it's like I haven't the first clue. I've created this in Word format, and actually Heather said, well, I can do some of the getting it print ready, but how do we know how big the box is? I'm like, oh my God, a box, like, a guidebook, like how, so anyway, I visited a local printer in Vancouver, BC, where we were living, and I said to him, I don't know if you've ever created anything like this, and I don't know what the schematics would be. And again, this is where we were guided to. And he said, actually, I'm really excited about this. We've never done anything like this, but this could expand what we do. Yeah. So we started going through again the, what would be needed. And there's a lot more to this. I'm just giving you what I call the nuts and bolts here, because, I had to get dies cut for the boxes, and we had to work out how big the box would be. And we sort of had to make dummies up and things like that. There was so much to it. So when all that was said and done, and, he passed me. And in fact, when I first created this, it was done in a tuck box.
Okay,
so
like your
is like your box of cards that you play,
like the children's card.
Like the children's, the very first. So that was all he could create, because he said, I haven't got the ability to do the other, but I can do that, and then it can be glued and all of that kind of thing. So they were in what they call tuck boxes. And so then it's like, how many? How many do I print? And of course, for anybody that's done any form of printing, the smaller the run, the higher the cost. Okay, if I was printing thousands upon thousands, then it brings the cost down. So I'm like, we then went to the trunk of our vehicle. And I said, how many boxes, how many decks would fit in here? And that was literally how the first order was derived. We went, okay, we've got to, put these into boxes, and then we've got to get them into the trunk of the car. And so I think it was a case of, I think the first print run was like 200 decks. And if I'm wrong on that, my apologies. But it was a very small print run, because here was my other thought. I've got to expend this money.
Yeah.
It was quite high, because 200 decks is, and then I've got to assume that people will like them and buy them, which was the big thing. And I wasn't a salesperson. I'm a clairvoyant, crying out loud. That's what I do. I do readings. I'm not a salesperson. So I started to, because Chris said, well, we're doing all these, we were both doing some work. And so I set up what I call meet and greet, so that people come in, play with the cards, and then buy them. And then a friend of ours who is also a clairvoyant, Katrina, she's in Alberta, and she said, I'm going to make you go out and sell. I'm like, oh, please. She took me into this store and she left me there. And she said, she said, oh my God, your sales pitch was dreadful. We've really got to work on that. Because I'm like, well, here it is. If you're interested.
Yeah, I understand. Anyway, trust me.
People were starting to buy them. So what was happening by the time we just got into the cusp of Alberta, I had run out of decks. I sold them.
Wow, nice.
We then had another batch because at that point we were going, Chris said, let's go from Vancouver across to Newfoundland and back again, which is what we did. And we ended up having them shipped to, there were, I think, 3 print runs all the way across because we could only carry so much in the vehicle. Yeah. So we were picking them up at Greyhound depots and, the printer was trying to tie it into getting it there for us. So it was so much fun and games. But from that, there was this realization that stores were liking the decks, especially across Canada, which then was invited me to go and then seek a distributor to carry the cards for me, and then that way I could print larger quantities and sell them that way. And when I went over to Australia to visit Dad, the first thing he's saying, because at that time this was the only deck that I had of out at that point, and he's like, ship me a whole load of these and you can sell them when you're here. I'm like, well, that could be a bit risky. He said, no, I'll sell them for you. Because he's like, I don't want to go across the bounds of, getting into more kind of thing. And again, the synchronicity of the way things come into play. I had sold a deck to somebody who was just out of Brisbane area in Queensland. And I had said to her, well, I'm coming over to Australia, to Queensland, and I'm going to be close to Brisbane. She said, oh, I'd love to meet up with you and take you out for a coffee or a glass of wine or something. I said, oh, that'd be lovely. Again, this friendship that connected. And she said, I'm going to sell your decks for you because I love them. And she was going into all these stores and we completely ran out with what we had shipped over there. Right. And again, it gave me the opportunity to find a distributor over there. But for anybody considering creating their own deck, there is a lot of work. Oh, yeah. You have to be prepared to pound the streets, go out there and sell. And of course, put in your own money to do that, to get to that point. But it's been fun. And, the next deck, the children's deck, came around, the Vibrational Earth Children came about because people that had the adult deck said, what about one for kids?
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's not a lot, as far as I know. I don't know of any other decks that are out there for children. And I like how you put it. This is for the inner child as well as children.
Yeah. And that came about because when I was creating it, I was literally creating for 8 years and up, based on what those people that had come to me had said, can you create a deck for children? And I'm like, well, I've got grandkids, but, I've been a long way from having small children around me. So I work with child educators and parents to see if the content aligned with what went with kids. And, that was what I was loving with it, that, this is how it went. And it wasn't until afterwards, after it was created, somebody came to me and said, oh, I'm buying the deck. And of course, I always, if somebody's coming to me personally and I'm buying the deck, I always say, so is it, grandchild? Because I always like to try and do an autograph card. And the person said, no, it's actually for me. And I'm like, okay, so share with me on this. She said, well, I want to do some inner child work. And she said, I saw the deck, I've played with it, and it's resonating. I said, but the dialogue in there is very childlike. She said, yeah, I need to hear that now. Yeah. And so, it wasn't created as a deck for inner child work, but it's certainly adapted to that. Yes. And I've done some things where we've done some inner child. And when I do my weekly readings at the moment, I take this one is for the adult part of us, and this one is for our inner child or intuitive side, to see how the two blend together. And they usually do. It's like this constant consistency that spirit has. So I just love it. And of course, then it was the 2 affirmation decks that came after that. So
exactly. Dave, and one of my regular followers, which I'm still waiting for my picture, by the way, Dave. A couple of months ago, he said when I said I can't draw a straight line, he said he could. And I said, okay, I want you to draw a picture of me for my birthday. Well, my birthday passed. And he's in Australia, so it was like even a day.
I've lost Darlene, so I'm hopeful that the internet is going to put her back on. I love it. So for me to draw a tarot deck for my sister-in-law, I will go within. Yes, what I love about that is the importance of when we're doing this connection with spirit is to trust in them. And I think for me, it was more of a case of I have no idea what to do for an oracle deck. I've used oracle decks, I've used tarot and all that kind of thing. So for me, it was more inner questioning, but I love that. So it's the whole thing of going inside and creating it. So Dave's just put up their Christmas.
Okay, that's up. Okay, I'm waiting now. I'm waiting. Sorry about that. The one thing I keep forgetting to tell people is when I start the show is that I have issues with my computer, with my internet. I'm not sure what it is. So sometimes I get dropped, which it just happens. And you, like a professional, just kept on going. It's like, yes.
Well, I thought I could answer Dave's question, kind of. But yeah, it's very much, I think, when we get taken on a new journey with spirit, whether it's to write a deck or a book or any of those kinds of things. I mean, you're taking over so well, not even a blink.
She's got her own show. You need to, okay, hang on a second. Let's do a little bit of advertising before we go anywhere. Gosh. Okay. Okay, to get Debbie's decks, okay, go to www.vibrational-energy.com. You can get her decks there. If you want to hear more of her shows and stuff, YouTube, Debbie A. Anderson Vibrational Energy. Just put in Debbie A. Anderson. Trust me, you'll find her. I'm going to do a bit of shameless advertising at the moment, because if anybody doesn't have money at the moment, this deck, and this deck are in mobile apps. Okay, so 3 of them have been made into mobile apps, and you can download a limited amount of the cards to play with them for free. Ooh, nice.
Okay, so there's no reason. And somebody said to me, yeah, but this one, you can download all 52 cards for 7 days for free.
Nice.
These 2 were at the beginning, and I think you can download 10 or 11 of them. And somebody said to me, why can't I download more of them? Like, why aren't there more cards available? I said, well, that's why you buy the mobile app from them.
Exactly.
But saying that, Black Friday, US, and of course, I think it starts on Monday, you can, these are all 30% off. So they're like $4.99 US. You can buy them for this until the 30th of November. So again, if anybody's following me on Facebook or goes to, in fact, I've just loaded my weekly reading where I've just promoted that on there, so it'll be within the weekly reading and on the feed there. So so if you've got no money at the moment, you can still play with them. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
And I love mobile apps. I think they're great for certain things. But I'm the girl who likes to actually read the paper book and actually have the cards.
Yeah, me too. But the one thing about it, the mobile app, and that was something, because I don't play with the mobile app as much as I should.
Yeah.
But I do find it's. I was traveling. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when I went to Mazatlan in Mexico, and I just usually take my 4 decks with me for doing my weekly readings and that kind of thing. And this lady said to me, oh my gosh, I got that deck. I said, oh, you have? And she said, yeah, I downloaded it as a mobile app. And then she went, oh, you created it's like, yeah. Did you do the Anderson? I'm like, well, it was when I woke up this morning.
Yes.
So that was cute, because she said, I've been using it for ages. She said, and she got to know me because I was doing, I had free meditation classes once a week while I was there for expats and so forth. And she hadn't realized until, a couple of weeks into it. So I love that kind of thing, those synchronicities, and she's been a good friend. So
Tracy said she's definitely going to be ordering your deck.
Thank you.
Gina knows you well, and and she knows you well. She wants to take us on a shiny moment. Do you do rune stones?
I don't, but it's something that I could play with. You and I should talk, Gina. Definitely. I've had
Gina does that.
Yeah.
She puts a shiny ball up there and then she runs.
Yeah. Well, I've got an idea for a deck and book, but it's still very much in its infancy, and it's a case of connecting with those that pass into spirit. But it is very much just what I call it, whirling wheels at the moment.
Exactly. The hamster is running like mad.
Yeah, but it will be a case of maybe 2 or 3 sets of cards that work in with like a workbook, so that people can connect with spirit. So I'm still trying to connect with spirit. So I'm hopeful this winter, she says, we're in November, this winter leading into spring, I can do a lot more writing and see what transpires from it. But I'm always open to new ideas and new concepts. I was given some runes many years ago, and I've never really played with them. I tend to like cards like you. I'm like the give me the cards kind of thing and let me play kind of with it. So, but that's not to say I shouldn't. So.
I have a friend who created his own deck of rune stones. Jeff Lonergan. He's and like you, he's from the UK and he moved to the US, and he's now married to a sweet friend of mine, and they're an adorable couple. And it was his first deck, so I'll show you another time there, because I'm not going to walk. I didn't think about that, but it was interesting. I think I played with them once or twice, but I bought them because me decks. It's like it's like a new candy bar comes up. Gotta see.
I like that. Gina's just said, I want to invent oracle stones.
There you go.
Can you imagine having oracle stones and cards?
Ooh, that would be nice. Okay, Gina.
Little wheels are going.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
And just to go back to when somebody had said about ordering it, if you're ordering directly from me, please, when you order, put who the deck is for, because I usually put an autograph card in, if I can, directly for that person. So, but if not, I always put an autograph card in there. So, try and do something to make it a little bit
original. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I got your decks, I think I can't remember when it was, last summer or something. I can't remember, but I was like, okay, which one do I have to buy? Because there's 4, and then you were having that special. And I went, no, I know which one I'm buying, all 4 of them.
And here's the thing: when I first started doing this, we were packaging the decks up. And they weren't in cellophane or anything like that. So I would always put an autograph card into the box.
Right.
Until somebody emailed me with quite sort of upset. She's like, I just bought your deck from whatever store it was, and the card is damaged because you autographed it. And I emailed back and I said, you actually have 53 cards. And she emailed back very sheepish. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't. But it was like, I damaged her deck.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah.
So no, I wouldn't do that. It's always an additional card that I add to it because it's important. I know my deck. Although one lady said, I'm adding the extra one into the deck. And when I shuffle it, if that one comes up, it'll be even more special.
It will be that. Oh, that's an interesting.
I thought that was an interesting concept, So, and I love it the way different people create all these different
exactly
things, and that's the joy about it, because this is where we let our creative, intuitive instincts out to play.
Exactly.
And
the books are there for me. When I get a deck with a book, the book, I will look through it. I will, peruse it. I won't read everything, because for me, the book is a guideline. If I'm stuck, if somebody's stuck and they want to read it,
guidebook.
Exactly. But some people are like, okay, let me get the book, and I did that in the beginning until, somebody had said, what is it when you draw the card? What's the first thing you see? That's what's drawing your attention. That's where your connection will be.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. But before we get, because we're like 5 minutes to the end of the show, what Gina and I did on Friday is we had a live reading show, and we had a good time. We had fun. But I think that maybe, Gina, if we think about it, maybe next month we can have a guest.
That would be nice. I would love that.
And all it is just
honest.
like, it's just
draw cards from here.
Exactly. You could choose a deck, and we promise not to use. Oh, what? I'm sorry. I'm being looked at with that evil mommy. Yes. You want to see?
It's funny when I teach how to read the vibrational energy oracle cards. The first thing I say to people is, you're not even going to look at the guidebook. And I can see this panic around their faces. I'm like, no, truly, we do it like this. And then afterwards, you can look at the book. And everybody, after they've done the workshop, said, I like that, because, this importance of connecting with the card and what it means to you, and creating that intuitive connection. And it is just a guide.
Yeah, it is. And some people, like I said, some people are like really into reading the books. And like, for me, a tarot deck, I know everything has its meaning, but I read tarot decks the same way I read oracle.
Me too.
And I have
into trouble when I was doing that course.
Exactly. Like I have all those decks over there on the second and third shelf. I've got about 4 different tarot decks. Yeah. Now, just the ones like Doreen Virtue's Angel Tarot decks, and those, I will do it that way. The ones I can't, I have them because they were given to me. They were gifted to me. Is the Rider-Waite cards, but the writing is on it.
Yeah.
So I don't use them. They're there for me. Okay, they're there for me to have, I guess.
Is that okay to do?
Yes, you can. You want to pull a card? Sure, go for it.
Because you've been with us from the beginning, Tracy.
She's one of my friends here.
Okay, so the card just flipped out.
Oh, I love those.
Release. Let it go. Let it go. Seriously. Whatever's going on at the moment, within your world, just release it. Anything that's not working for you, let it go. It's the best thing to do. So I hope that helps you. And Gina's just asked for one.
Gina goes, me. Yeah.
Okay. And Gina, yours flew on the floor. Remember, we were talking about this on Monday. So bear with me as I dig deep here and grab it.
Yeah, except if I was bending over like that, there'd be sound effects.
I know, there probably is with me. Combustion. Okay, so with this one, what I love about combustion is you can't really see the image very well, but within that scope, there's a house, there's all these things going on. You see, I'm one of these, I see, I can then look at the clouds and I see all this. So if something is going on around you that is not directed to you, Gina, and it's causing this sort of what I call the outcry, don't step into it. And combustion here, like the balance around combustion is, if it's going on outside of you, don't step into it. Okay, so that's what I'm gathering with this one. Whatever's going on around you, let it happen. It's not yours to keep or hold or take on. So hopefully that makes sense. And I want to pull one for you, Mama D, because it was your birthday.
Thank you.
And I want to see. Oh,
now the jumper.
It was a jumper, an open book. Now, how perfect is that?
Yep.
What I love about this is the perfection of being an open book. Here you do these wonderful shows where people can come along and just be, it's been such a joy here. And here's you on that pathway. Like the book's open, you're on that pathway. Nothing set out in concrete.
Yeah,
no. For the ones you're creating there. And the light, you're just going towards the light. I love it. You're writing your own book here.
Yeah, well, stop with the book thing, because so many people have told me I should write a book, and I go, oh, look, I can't even write I can't even get a journal done. People go, and I recommend for people to write journal their dreams, journal their days, journal.
Yeah.
I make it. I have a paper over here, a paper over there, something.
Yeah.
So I'm not a good writer. So
just ask, can tarot and oracle cards be drawn together as one? Yes. Some people do an oracle card, work with an oracle card and a tarot card and affirmation card. So
yes,
I always work on the basis that there's no rules that say you can't do something.
Yeah.
If you do, then you're going to restrict yourself. Whereas if you're working, my go-to was Rider-Waite. I love that deck because it was so simplistic. It gave me imagery that I could create a story. And yes, you could do them so that you're interconnecting, pull one from each.
Yeah.
Do some from the tarot, some from the oracle, some from an affirmation or from angel cards or whatever. No, there are no restrictions. And that was a card I pulled for you, Dave. Okay, it was reprogrammed. So I think this was, again, this confirmation that we don't have to do everything the way it's.
Yeah,
there's this way. We can only do it that way. There is no.
Yeah, there's no. It's not a paint by number set. Just do like I do, and just do artistic free flow.
Absolutely. And if somebody doesn't like it, too bad, so sad, move on.
Yeah, exactly. Because somebody else, like I always say, when you give a message, it's like when Gina and I did a message, I had her pull a card. I asked her for a card, and I told her what. I think she chose which to pull it from. I forget, but it actually was a message for somebody else who was in the chat room, and they was like, it doesn't always have to be, one man's treasure is another man's trash or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's just do what you feel.
The only restrictions are the ones we place upon ourselves.
Yep, exactly.
And this is free fall, people. This is free fall.
Exactly. I mean, how many times did I say, Dave, I say I cannot draw to save my life. I can see beauty in art, but I cannot do it. But then I started doing painting, and I'm loving it. People are loving it. I've actually sold a few. I was like, really? You're not kidding me? And hello. But I do them because it makes me feel good. When I'm in a mood, it doesn't come out very pretty.
Well, I'm very blessed. I can surround myself with people that are very artistic.
Yeah.
And I get the pleasure from that. For me, I can write, I can create in different ways, but if I have to do it in a strict regimic kind of way, it's like, this is not going to happen.
Look, even in high school, when I was because I had to take it, was drafting or technical drawing, they had a T-square, so you put the thing on the edge of the desk and you would draw a straight line. Well, I always managed to mess it up, so I can't even draw a T-square. My tech teacher was like, how can you not draw a straight line with a T-square? It's perfect. I was like, it's just, I can't, it just doesn't work. So, but so there's no one way of doing things.
No, and I think if we, paint outside the lines, I think it's the expression, we're going to see something different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's of our creation, I sometimes sit and I doodle. That's the best for me. I'll doodle and then it may turn into something because my mind's being distracted. And then afterwards I look at it and I go, okay, this is something here that I'm seeing within this. And allow it to be. So even if it's just for your own pleasure or just for something fun, if you've got to do it and you're feeling restricted in it, whether it's reading cards or doing art or something like that, then choose a different direction or a different way to do it.
Exactly.
That's the way I love it.
And everybody sees things differently. Like people are always saying, do you have a name for your painting? Nope.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'll see something in it. Like I have a painting that I saw two dragons head on. And my husband had looked at it and he saw something else. So how can I name something that I see when I know somebody else is going to see something else? It's just abstract art. It's so you put a bunch of different colors.
Should invite the person that is buying the painting to name it.
Yeah, well, I did that. One of my friends saw a yellow painting I did, and I thought it was pretty, but I couldn't see anything in it. But she looked at it and she saw a yellow rose. So I called it the Yellow Rose, Texas. It was just the Yellow Rose. So she bought it. And so for me, there's only one painting I've ever named, and that was because it actually looked like, when a dandelion goes into that poofy thing.
Oh yes, I love it.
Those things, and I called it the wish.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but it's the only one I've ever named. All the rest, like I said, if somebody wants to buy it, they got to see what they see in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, unless of course it's like a bright red dot on a white background, then I'll call it a bright red dot on a white background.
I was very blessed to connect with somebody many years ago, and he would sort of draw an image, a flower or whatever, and within the flower, then he would create these words. So, and it was so beautiful because you'll think you're looking at a picture or a drawing or something like that, and then if you look closer at it, there were all these little words in there and things like that, and it was just, for me, I'm going, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
For somebody to be able to do that. And he said, well, it just starts off sometimes. I'm writing the words and then the image comes round the words.
Nice.
So, yeah, as I say, I've been very blessed to connect with, amazing people. And I think that's it. Things that inspire us don't necessarily have to be created by us.
Nope, exactly.
Created by somebody else, and then we take it and create the that next part for ourselves using it, whether it's a piece of music to dance to, a painting that we enjoy, a card deck or a book or something like that. So I love it. The importance of that.
Gina says, I did our high school yearbook cover, first page, and hid words in it.
Yes.
I hope they were not naughty words. But knowing Gina,
and of course we're talking in a school way. I went to girls' schools. I don't know whether my mom had this thing about girls' schools, but I ended up in 2 senior schools that were just girls, and that was it. So we would get up some really bad stuff.
Yeah, been there, done that. Hey, I'm no angel. No, really? I would never have known that.
I love that. The expansion of Gina and her life and everything. There's just so much there.
We should do a book on Gina. That will be volumes.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping one day when the barriers are lifted between the countries that I can go visit her home, because it looks so intriguing. So
it is. I got virtual tour of it, and it's like, and she lives like an hour away from Philadelphia, which is where my husband's from. So I was like, go visit Philadelphia and sneak on up to Gina's. There you go.
Definitely, yeah, by the cloak of night.
Exactly. Won't tell them. Shove people in the trunk. Go.
I love it.
Well, we're gonna bring this one to a close because we're a little bit over time. But like I said, it's only me. I'm the boss. I can do what I want. But
definitely,
thank you very much. We should do this again.
I love it.
Like I said, I'm serious, Gina. We're gonna next time we do a show. Thanks, Anna. We're gonna do a show. We're gonna have you on. And like I said, it's just fun.
I know. I love just rolling with it. I have to say, before we started, I said to Mama Dee, so what's our topic of conversation today? And she said, well, we could talk about your cards and just see how,
Yeah,
I love
just
it.
kind of go all over the place.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Tracy. She says, thank you very much, Mama Dee. It was an incredibly awesome show. Merci beaucoup. You're very welcome. Well, I will see you all guys next week when I have Brandon Kiefer. Now that is going to be an interesting show. He is... I hate putting people in the boxes, but I'm not sure if he's psychic, a medium, or he's special and he's adorable. So I'll see you next week with Brandon. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.